All right, let's get right into this. Picture this. It's central Georgia, March of 1847. We've got a cotton merchant, a guy named Charles Dennison, who's just traveling on business. He pulls over near the small, pretty unassuming plantation to water his horse. Just a totally normal stop on a totally normal day. But what he's about to see is going to completely unravel everything he thought he knew.
So as the morning fog starts to lift, Dennison looks out and sees the enslaved workers heading out to the fields. But something's off. Among them are about a dozen children who just stand out. In his own words, they were different. They had pale skin and features that he said were, quote, unmistakably European. And what was really unsettling is that they all had this strange family resemblance. It's a sight he just can't shake.
So what does he do? He can't just ride away. He feels compelled, he has to understand what he's seeing. So he decides to go up to the main house, pretending he's there on business. And this one decision is going to lead him straight to the plantation's owner, a man named Horace Crawford, and right into the heart of a truly dark secret.
At first, everything seems, well, normal. Crawford is this welcoming host, invites Dennison inside for breakfast to talk about cotton prices, the whole Southern hospitality thing. But Crawford isn't stupid. He sees Dennison glancing out at the fields, and with this weird smile of satisfaction, he brings up the children himself, totally unprompted. And this is where that polite facade just absolutely crumbles, because Crawford, with this disturbing, just sickening amount of pride, starts to explain the system he's perfected on his plantation, and he doesn't see it as a moral horror. No, to him it's a brilliant business strategy.
Just listen to the words he uses. He doesn't talk about violence or abuse. He calls it a breeding program, a calculated method for, quote, deliberate improvement. He's talking about human beings as if they're livestock. And then he explains that he personally is the one fathering these children to, control the bloodline. It's absolutely bone-chilling.
And the sheer scale of this is just staggering. Crawford casually admits he's fathered 17 children, and he sees every single one of them as a product, an investment. He even boasts about his plan to sell his oldest son, Thomas, the next year, saying he'll get a premium price because the boy's lighter skin makes him more valuable for work inside the house.
So naturally, Dennison asks about the mothers, and Crawford's response? It's just so direct and cold. I own them, they don't have the luxury of refusal. Consent is not even a concept to him. They are his property. And the thing is, the law gives him total authority over their bodies. This isn't just abuse. This is a systematic, legally protected operation of rape for profit.
So you have to put yourself in Dennison's shoes. He's trapped. What do you do? Crawford hasn't actually broken any laws. There's no sheriff to call, no authority to report this to. The entire system of slavery, the legal and social fabric of the South, is literally designed to protect men just like Horace Crawford.
Dennison is completely shaken, obviously. He heads back to Savannah, but he just can't let it go. I mean, how could you? He ends up confiding in his clerk, who, knowing the incredible risk, points him to the one person in the city who might actually be able to do something, a doctor named William Preston. And this is the first step toward a different kind of justice. And it turns out, Dr. Preston is no stranger to Crawford's brand of cruelty. He's been a doctor in the area for over 30 years. And get this, he actually delivered several of Crawford's children himself. He confirms Dennison's worst fears, and then some. He tells him 3 of the mothers died right after childbirth because Crawford forced him back into the fields way too soon. And for years, Preston has been secretly writing all of this down, documenting these horrors in his journals, just waiting for a day when it might matter.
Preston knows that going through legal channels is completely useless. It's a dead end. But, he says, he has other connections. He's connected to people who work in the shadows, people who help enslaved individuals escape to freedom. And he gives Dennison a choice. You can walk away from this, or you can join a secret war against the entire system.
Dennison agrees. He's in. And that's how he's introduced to the Underground Railroad. Now, this wasn't a real railroad with tracks and trains, of course. It was this secret, clandestine network of incredibly brave people, they called them conductors and station masters, who risk their own lives, their own freedom, to guide people north to safety.
So, Dennison's new role is clear. He can't be a conductor himself, but he's a merchant. He has a legitimate reason to visit Crawford's plantation again. So he becomes an intelligence gatherer. He becomes a spy. Patiently, methodically, He starts learning the routines, the layout of the property, everything he can.
But how do you even communicate in a situation like this? It's so unbelievably risky. Dennison manages to leave a coded note for an enslaved houseworker named Rebecca. The note just says, "Friends wait north." A few days later, a small blue ribbon appears tied to a fence post. It's the signal. Rebecca saw the note. She and 5 other people are ready to risk everything for a chance at freedom.
Okay, so here's the plan they cook up. It is meticulous, and every single part of it is high stakes. It's all centered on the plantation's monthly supply run to Savannah. A sympathetic deputy is going to intercept the wagon and detain the overseer with some bogus, lengthy inspection. This creates that tiny, crucial window of time for the 6 escapees, including Thomas and Rebecca, to be transferred to a hidden wagon and rushed to a safe house before anyone even knows they're gone.
And it works. The escape is successful. After this agonizing, terrifying 18-day journey, all 6 of them reach freedom in Ohio. But their actions, and of course Crawford's furious reaction, set off this chain of events that will have massive consequences for everyone involved, stretching way beyond that one Georgia plantation. What happens next is just this incredible reversal of fortunes. On one hand, you have the escapees, who start building new lives, getting married, having children, all in freedom. Their testimonies get published in northern abolitionist newspapers, and the story of the Georgia breeder becomes a national scandal. On the other hand, you have Crawford. He's ruined. Socially, financially, he's a pariah. His name even gets attached to a new anti-cruelty law in Georgia, which is just a permanent public mark of his shame.
So, in the end, this escape did so much more than just save 6 lives. The testimonies from the survivors became this powerful piece of propaganda, a real, verifiable story that just laid bare the moral bankruptcy of a system that defines human beings as property. It added fuel to the fire of the abolitionist movement and really helped shift public opinion.
But there is a lingering question here, isn't there? 11 of Crawford's children didn't escape that day. When he was forced to sell his plantation, they were sold with it, scattered across the South. Most of them would live to see emancipation after the Civil War, but you can only imagine the mark that being owned by your own father leaves on you. But maybe the most profound takeaway, the most powerful word on this whole story, comes years later. It's from one of the daughters who was left behind, a woman named Martha, who wrote an autobiography, and her words, they just completely redefined what victory can mean. She wrote, "That's my revenge, that's my victory, living well, living free, making sure my father's legacy dies with his generation, while my mother's legacy lives on through us." Just an incredible testament to endurance and to the unbeatable strength of the human spirit.